Your results are not random. They are programmed. Poverty, in its truest sense, is not an empty bank account or a lack of material possessions. Those are merely symptoms. The real disease, the root of all lack and limitation, is a sickness of the mind. It is a contagion of thought, a set of invisible programs that run in the background of your consciousness, silently sabotaging your every effort to create a life of abundance and freedom. Today, we will name these contagions. We will call them what they are: mind viruses. Like a biological virus, a mind virus infects your thinking without your conscious knowledge. It is passed down from generation to generation, transmitted through society, through education, through the very air you breathe. It tells you what is possible and what is impossible. It sets the boundaries of your ambition. There are 5 principal strains of this mental disease, 5 viruses that are responsible for keeping 98% of people in a state of quiet financial desperation. In this deep dive message, we will not offer you superficial money tips or fleeting motivation. We will conduct a profound diagnosis. We will drag each of these 5 mind viruses into the light, dissect them, understand how they operate, and most importantly, provide you with the specific, powerful antidote for each one. This is the core work of the X of mentality, to make you aware of the invisible programs controlling your life so that you may rewrite them at will. This is not a passive experience. This is an active diagnosis of your own consciousness. Your willingness to confront these viruses is the first step toward a cure. If you are ready to become immune to the mental diseases of poverty and lack, then make your first declaration. Subscribe to this channel now as a commitment to developing a mindset of absolute financial and spiritual abundance. Let us begin the diagnosis. Prepare to meet the first and most common of these debilitating viruses. The universe is an ocean. The scarcity mind arrives with a thimble. The first and most foundational mind virus is the one that convinces you that the universe is a place of limitation. It is the scarcity virus. This is the deep-seated, often unconscious belief that there is not enough to go around. Not enough money, not enough opportunity, not enough good luck. The person infected with this virus sees life as a zero-sum game. For them to win, someone else must lose. Another person's success is perceived as a threat, a sign that there is less available for them. The symptoms of the scarcity virus are easy to spot. It manifests as a constant fear of loss. The person hoards what little they have, afraid to invest their money, their time, or their energy, because they believe that once it is gone, it will not be replenished. They live in a state of what if? What if I lose my job? What if this investment fails? They focus on what they could lose, not on what they could gain. Another symptom is jealousy. When they see another person achieve success, their first reaction is not inspiration, but envy. They think, why them and not me? They must have gotten lucky or had an unfair advantage. They cannot conceive that success is created from an infinite source, available to all who tune their minds to its frequency. They believe in a small, finite pie, and they are terrified of not getting their slice. This mindset of envy and comparison keeps them focused on lack, which, by the law of attraction, only brings them more lack. The scarcity virus is rooted in the fear of poverty, and it forces its host to play a small defensive game in a universe that rewards bold, creative action. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. The only antidote to the scarcity virus is to deliberately cultivate its opposite, an abundance consciousness. This is the unshakable belief that you live in a universe of infinite supply, that there's more than enough for everyone, and that you are a creator of value, not a competitor for limited resources. How do you install this new belief? The first step is through the disciplined practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the language of abundance. You cannot be genuinely grateful and feel lack at the same time. The two emotions cannot coexist. Every day, you must consciously seek out and acknowledge the abundance you already have, no matter how small it may seem. Be grateful for the air you breathe, for the knowledge in your mind, for the small opportunities before you. This practice retrains your brain to look for evidence of plenty instead of evidence of lack. The second step is auto-suggestion for abundance. You must craft a powerful affirmation that declares your new reality. For example, I am a magnet for success and abundance. I live in a universe of infinite supply, and I am always provided for. I create immense value, and I am richly compensated. Money flows to me easily, frequently, and in ever-increasing quantities. Repeat this with feeling until it becomes your dominant belief. The third step is to practice the law of circulation. The person with a scarcity mindset hoards. The person with an abundance mindset gives. They give of their time, their knowledge, and yes, even their money with a spirit of generosity. They know that money is like the tide. It must flow out for it to flow back in, greater than before. They are not afraid to invest in themselves or in sound opportunities because they know they are not spending money, they are putting it into circulation to bring back a greater harvest. By practicing gratitude, affirming abundance, and giving freely, you cure the scarcity virus at its root and become a magnet for the very wealth you desire. Procrastination is the art of keeping up with yesterday. We now turn to the second mind virus, a close relative of the fear of poverty and a master of sabotage. It is an affliction so common that most people consider it a normal part of their personality. It is the someday virus, better known as procrastination. This virus infects the mind with the belief that the perfect time to act is always in the future. It whispers the most dangerous lie a person can tell themselves: I will do it tomorrow. The person infected with this virus lives in a fantasy land called Someday Isle. On this island, all of their greatest ambitions are realized. All of their difficult tasks are completed, and their potential is fully unleashed. The only problem is that Someday Isle does not exist on any map. It is a mirage, a mental anesthetic used to numb the pain of present inaction. The someday virus is, at its core, a mechanism for avoiding the emotional discomfort of a task. The symptoms are clear. The primary symptom is a constant state of getting ready to get ready. The person is always planning, researching, organizing, and waiting for the perfect conditions before they begin. They convince themselves that this is prudent preparation, but it is merely a sophisticated form of fear. They fear making a mistake, so they never start. They fear they don't know enough, so they remain in a state of perpetual research. Another symptom is an obsession with minor tasks to avoid major ones. The person will spend hours organizing their email inbox or cleaning their desk when they know they should be making sales calls or writing their business plan. This gives them the illusion of being productive while allowing them to avoid the one or two critical tasks that would actually move their life forward. This virus is a dream killer because it allows enthusiasm, the very fuel of achievement, to cool down and die. An idea is a fiery, powerful thing at its birth, but if it is left on the shelf of someday, its fire goes out. The someday virus ensures that your greatest ideas die of neglect. The only way to kill tomorrow is to win today. The cure for the someday virus is not a complex formula. It is a simple, yet profoundly difficult act of will. The antidote is the power of immediate action. You do not cure procrastination by planning to act tomorrow. You cure it by acting in some small way right now. You must wage war on the word later and make now your new creed. The first step in this cure is the application of the 5-minute rule. Whatever task you are dreading, make a pact with yourself to work on it for only 5 minutes. Anyone can endure anything for 5 minutes. If you need to write a report, commit only to writing the first paragraph. If you need to exercise, commit only to putting on your workout clothes and walking for 5 minutes. What you will find is that the greatest obstacle is not the work itself, but the inertia of starting. Once you have overcome that initial friction, you will often find yourself willingly continuing for much longer. The first 5 minutes are the key that unlocks the engine. The second step is to make your intentions public. The someday virus thrives in secrecy. When no one knows about your goal, there is no accountability. To cure this, declare your immediate intention to a trusted member of your mastermind, your spouse, or a respected friend. State clearly, by 5 p.m. today, I will have finished the first draft of that proposal. This act of declaration creates a positive pressure, a psychological commitment that makes it much harder to procrastinate. Finally, you must use auto-suggestion to build the identity of a person of action. Create an affirmation such as, I am a person of swift, decisive action. I do the thing I dread first. I find power and satisfaction in immediate execution. My mantra is, do it now. Repeat this until you believe it, and your actions will inevitably follow your new belief. By taking small, immediate actions and building a new identity, you starve the someday virus until it withers and dies, replaced by the powerful habit of decisive, immediate action. When you seek the approval of others, you give them the keys to your happiness. We now confront the third mind virus, a subtle and insidious infection that forces you to live your life according to someone else's script. It is the approval virus. This is the desperate, often unconscious need for external validation. It is the belief that your worth, your ideas, and your decisions are not valid until they are approved, accepted, and praised by others. The person infected with this virus does not live their own life. They perform a life for an audience. This virus is rooted in the fear of criticism. Its primary symptom is a chronic inability to make a decision without first consulting a committee of friends, family, and colleagues. The individual does not trust their own judgment. They seek a consensus, hoping to distribute the responsibility for their own life onto the shoulders of others. If the decision proves wrong, they can say, well, everyone thought it was a good idea. This is a subtle abdication of personal power. Another symptom is the constant changing of one's own opinions and plans to match those of the dominant personality in the room. This person becomes a social chameleon, so afraid of being disliked or causing friction that they sacrifice their own authenticity. They say yes when they mean no. They praise things they do not admire. They suppress their own brilliant, unconventional ideas because they fear they will be misunderstood or ridiculed. The approval virus is particularly dangerous because it feels virtuous. It masquerades as being nice, agreeable, or a team player. But in reality, it is a form of self-betrayal. You are trading your unique identity for the temporary comfort of fitting in. And the world, while it may find you pleasant, will never truly respect you, for it is a law of human nature that we cannot truly respect a person who does not respect their own mind. This virus keeps you from ever taking the bold, controversial, or unique actions that lead to great achievement, trapping you in a pleasing prison of mediocrity.
The only approval you need is your own.
To cure the approval virus, you must undertake one of the most courageous journeys of all, the journey from external validation to internal self-reliance. This is the unwavering belief in the reliability of your own judgment, your own counsel, and your own connection to infinite intelligence. It is the quiet, powerful understanding that the only approval required for your own life's decisions is your own. The first step of this cure is to practice making small, independent decisions. Start with things that have low stakes. Choose the restaurant for dinner without polling everyone first. Buy the shirt you like without asking a friend if it looks good. Make these small decisions and stand by them, even if they are not perfect. You are training yourself to trust your own instincts. You are building the muscle of self-trust. The second step is to guard your great plans. When you conceive of a definite major purpose, do not share it with the world indiscriminately. Do not submit your great dream to a jury of your skeptical relatives or fearful friends. Share it only with your carefully chosen mastermind alliance, the people who you know will provide faith-filled, harmonious counsel. For the most part, let your plans be a secret between you and your Creator. Let your results be your argument. And the final, most powerful step is to use auto-suggestion to build the identity of a self-reliant individual. Your affirmation could be, I am guided by my own definite purpose and my own inner counsel. I respect the opinions of others, but I am the final authority in my own life. I have the courage to be myself and to walk my own path with unshakable confidence. As you internalize this belief, you will find that your need for external approval begins to wither away. It is replaced by a calm self-assurance that is far more valuable than the applause of the crowd. This journey to self-reliance is the very definition of mental freedom. It is a core mission of the X of mentality. If you are ready to stop seeking approval and start living authentically, make a declaration of your sovereignty. Subscribe now as a commitment to trusting your own voice above all others. A victim finds excuses. A master finds reasons. We now turn to a mind virus that is responsible for more stagnation and misery than nearly any other. It is an acid that dissolves personal responsibility and paralyzes the will to act. It is the blame virus. The person infected with this virus has an explanation for every failure, and that explanation always lies outside of themselves. The symptoms of this virus are everywhere. It is the employee who blames their lack of promotion on a bad boss or office politics. It is the entrepreneur who blames their failed business on the economy or unfair competition. It is the person who blames their unhappiness on their upbringing, their spouse, their circumstances, or their lack of luck. The blame virus operates from a simple yet toxic creed. It is not my fault. This mindset is a psychological prison. By placing the cause of their problems outside of themselves, the individual also places the solution outside of themselves. If the economy is the problem, then they must wait for the economy to change. If their boss is the problem, they must wait for their boss to be replaced. They become a passive victim, waiting for the world to change so that their life can get better. But the world does not work that way. This habit of blaming is rooted in a fear of accountability. It is easier on the ego to find an external scapegoat than to face the uncomfortable truth that our results are, by and large, a reflection of our own habits, our own decisions, and our own dominant thoughts. Blame is an anesthetic for the pain of regret. It is a temporary relief that guarantees long-term failure. A person who has mastered the art of the alibi has, by the same token, mastered the art of failing. Until you eradicate this virus, you can never take true command of your life because you will always believe that someone else is at the helm.
Your life is your responsibility. The moment you accept this, you reclaim your power.
The only known antidote to the corrosive blame virus is the adoption of a radical and liberating philosophy, the principle of absolute responsibility. This is the conscious and at times difficult acceptance that you and you alone are responsible for your life. You are responsible for your reactions, your decisions, your habits, your character, and ultimately your results. This is not to say that you control every event. You do not control the weather, the economy, or the actions of other people, but you have absolute control over your response to these things. And it is in your response that your power lies. Adopting this principle is the moment you stop being a victim and become a creator. It is the moment you take the pen back from circumstance and begin writing your own story. The first step in applying this principle is to conduct a no-excuse audit. Look at an area of your life where you're not getting the results you want. Write down all the reasons you have been giving yourself for why it is not working. Now, cross out every reason that involves another person or an external circumstance. What you are left with are the real reasons: your habits, your fears, your lack of a definite plan. This is where your work must begin. The second step is to replace the language of blame with the language of power. Instead of saying, "He made me angry," you must learn to say, "I chose to react with anger." Instead of saying, "I couldn't succeed because of the economy," you must ask, "How can I succeed in spite of the economy?" This linguistic shift is a powerful tool for reclaiming your personal power. Finally, you must embrace this principle with your whole being. When you fully accept that you are the cause, you also accept that you are the cure. If you are the architect of your current circumstances, then you are also the architect who can design and build new ones. This is the most empowering belief a human being can possess. It is the foundation of all self-made men and women. By eradicating blame and accepting absolute responsibility, you move from a state of powerlessness to a state of infinite potential.
The graveyard of dreams is paved with the intentions of the comfortable.
We arrive at the fifth and final mind virus, a phantom so seductive and so widely accepted as normal that it is perhaps the most dangerous of all. It is the comfort virus. This is the tendency to prioritize comfort, safety, and predictability above all else. It is the silent desire to remain within the boundaries of the known, even if that known is a state of quiet desperation. This virus is rooted in a fear of the unknown and a lack of a burning ambition. The person infected with the comfort virus avoids all risk. They choose the stable job over the entrepreneurial dream. They stay in the unsatisfying relationship because it is familiar. They stop learning, stop growing, and stop challenging themselves because growth is, by its very nature, uncomfortable. Their primary goal in life is not achievement or fulfillment, but the avoidance of discomfort. They have traded their potential for a false sense of security, not realizing that the comfort zone is the most dangerous place of all, for nothing grows there. The final cure, the master antidote to all 5 of these mind viruses, is one and the same. It is the adoption of a definite major purpose backed by a burning desire and pursued with unshakable faith and persistence. A definite purpose is the cure for the someday virus, for it demands action now. A burning desire is the cure for the comfort virus, for it makes the pain of staying the same greater than the pain of growth. Unshakable faith, built through autosuggestion, is the cure for the scarcity virus and the blame virus, for it connects you to an infinite source and places power back in your own hands. And self-reliance, born of all these things, is the cure for the approval virus, for the person on a mission has no time for the opinions of the crowd. This is the formula. This is the science of achievement. It is your path out of the 98%. It is your escape from a life of quiet desperation. Therefore, I invite you one last time to make a commitment to this cure. Subscribe to this channel
And in doing so, declare that you are no longer willing to be a host for the mind viruses of mediocrity. Let this be your first act of immunity, your first step towards a life of boundless health, wealth, and purpose.
Activate the X within you.